Welcome to Top Advisor Marketing, where you will learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your practice. Brought to you by Top Advisor Podcasting, a done-for-you podcasting solution built just for trusted advisors. And now, your co-hosts of Top Advisor Marketing, Kirk Lowe and Matt Halloran.
Hello and welcome to another Top Advisor Marketing podcast. When it comes to hiring people, you might think to yourself, I don't know why this is on a marketing podcast, but here's the deal. If you have really good people on your team, you can market that you have really good people on your team. It makes your bench look really good and really makes it so that you can separate yourself from the advisor down the street. But most importantly, if you have great people on board, you as the financial services professional can do what you're supposed to do, which is to get out and market. Talk about who you are, what makes you truly unique and different, and why people should do business with you. Let other people handle that. So today, we've got Duane Roberts. He's the COO, CFO of Humans Being Resources. So Duane, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate the opportunity.
How did you start doing this? What is your story?
About 4 years ago, my wife and I, Stephanie, who is the primary recruiter for our company, we decided that we were going to look at starting a recruiting firm because my background was in operational management in the automotive industry, and her background was as a recruiter. Basically, I was the one who was in charge for multiple automotive companies to make the decision as to whether or not we were going to hire a recruiter to help find personnel. And most of the time, my answer was no. And the reason that my answer was no, the majority of the time, was because I just didn't see the bang for the buck. I didn't think that the processes that they were using were very thorough, and for the money that it was requiring, it just didn't seem like a good investment for us. From there, we decided to come up with processes and resources for hiring that would mimic our ideal process when locating and screening candidates that I would love to use myself. And we then took that and broke it down financially so that we could make sure that it really was cost effective for the average business or more so focused on small business in specific.
Cost is definitely an issue that I've heard in my old coaching and consulting days, but the amount of time and the amount of pre-work that you all do is a huge time saver at the back end of things. Let's talk about that. What are some of the benefits of using a company like yours?
The primary is obviously, like you said, the time savings. It allows our clients to focus on their day-to-day business and generating revenue for their companies rather than sitting at a computer screen looking through resumes, figuring out who they should or should not contact. And then beyond that, what process they should walk them through that's really going to be thorough to be able to bring on a quality team member. And so, that the time investment that goes into that is huge. And that's really the primary thing that we offer for our clients is a time savings, which in turn also has a cost to it as well. Not only a cost, but it also prevents you from earning money for your company like you should be.
I want to talk about your process, though, because as you know, financial services professionals are very system oriented, right? They love processes, they love checklists, and they also like to rescind control to people who they know have those processes in place. Would you mind talking a little bit about how you do what you do?
Sure. What we've done is we've created 3 optional recruiting packages. And the reason we did that is because every business owner has their own level that they're comfortable with of relinquishing that control like you were just talking about. So some people like to perform their own personality profiling. Some people like to perform their own background checks and various parts of what we do. So that's why we created those 3 optional packages really to suit each individual client and their specific needs and their time investment that they're able to make in this process. The ideal package would be the elite package, which is one, honestly, that's 95% or better of what we actually engage with our clients. And that process is very, very thorough. We place job ads on multiple job boards. We source the actual candidates. We conduct phone interviews. From there, we would send them personality profiling. We would also send them assessments that is important in whichever job role it is that they're applying for. From there, they would do a one-way video interview that our client would get to see. And then once a candidate is a final candidate and receives an employment offer, we would perform a background check as well. So pretty much that process on that package is if you ideally looked at everything that we could possibly do to effectively screen a candidate and qualify a candidate before bringing them into our business for an actual in-person interview, that is the package that you'd go with.
And we can find all of this on your website, which we're going to make sure that we have links to in the show notes so that people can specifically reach out to you. There are other people who say that, they focus in financial services, but how do you, we just talked a little bit about the processes. I guess I want you to expand on that a little bit more. Financial services, especially with the background checks, and we have very specific types of people that we want to hire. How do you cast the hook into the water into this large pool of people, understanding the specific needs of financial services professionals' offices?
Well, I would say first and foremost that a lot of that credit goes to Stephanie because she's been recruiting in the financial services industry for about 9 years. And so she's amassed quite the network of candidates and clients that we can keep in touch with as we operate. So that's, believe it or not, a large part of where a lot of our contacts come from. The days of placing job ads, we call it the fishing approach, putting the bobber out in the water and just waiting to watch for the bobber to go under the water for a candidate to bite. Those days are pretty much gone. And really, recruiting has shifted to a more aggressive approach on the recruiter's part, where they've got to reach out to their own internal networks or through resume databases, various resume databases that are available. That's one thing, but knowing the skills that are needed from a candidate based upon the position that we're filling within the financial services industry is key. A lot of times I think financial advisors themselves don't really look at outside industries or outside positions as someone who could maybe do the position that they're hiring for. And so they just tend to stay within that little box of if they don't have financial services industry experience, then I'm not even going to look at them. And I think that's just because of not being trained in recruiting and doing what we do every day, just like we're not trained in doing what they do every day. So I think that's a benefit, is us having that point of view of being able to match up skills and experience with positions, knowing the requirements of what they're going to have to do on a daily basis, knowing the licensing that's going to be required in some cases, and the background, and in some cases, credit ratings that would come into play based upon which position they're filling.
Duane, that was freaking brilliant. I'm so happy that you pointed that out, because are you so right on that? Finding people outside the industry is actually one of the best ways to find really good talent, right? Because we really want a specific kind of person. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have to come from financial services background. Dude, that was awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and if I could, I'd like to add one of the things that a benefit of that elite package that I mentioned earlier is not only do we do profiling, personality profiling on the candidate, but in that package, we actually conduct an office baseline for the client that's hiring. And so they would take personality profiles, and then we would meld that into a baseline for the office, and we would compare the personalities of the candidates with that to make sure that it's going to be a good personality fit, which in the workplace today is huge.
Yeah, that's totally huge. So I'm going to digress for a minute here. Duane, what happens when somebody buys that package and you do the profile of the office and you're like, dude, this office is jacked up?
Well, we don't really make that diagnosis, if you will. We're definitely not in the position to do that based on what we do. But we, just through experience and through the years of doing this, we obviously see some that you scratch your head sometimes. You say, well, I wonder how they function every day. But that's why they also come to us to help, because they want to make sure they get, you could have an office environment that's not functioning well, and then you could bring in that one key component that will just put it all together.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the personality profile of that person that's going to come in and make everybody work well together, depending upon, obviously, their role within the company.
Well, that one specific hire can change the entire culture within a practice. So well done. Thank you for allowing me to throw you that, Louie. I appreciate that. Everybody's working from home now, it seems, or the majority of people are, because of what's going on with COVID-19. What are you guys seeing? I mean, your fingers are on the pulse of all of this. Have things changed? Are they more the same? Is there a larger pool? Are people specifically saying, hey, I want somebody who can functionally work from home? What are you guys experiencing right now?
Well, first off, I think one of the benefits that our clients are seeing that we're currently engaged with is we have not slowed down or changed our operations at all. And the reason for that is, and one of the other reasons why we can offer the price point that we do, we don't have a lot of overhead. We don't have a large, building in KC, that's going to provide a lot of overhead for our company. We work remotely primarily already. That has prepared us for this situation. We've been very fortunate that we have really not had to change our operations, and our clients are seeing the benefit of that because we haven't slowed down. Now, on the client side, obviously, that's a little different. We have a lot of clients that are in situations where their offices they're being asked not to go to their offices, and it's obviously putting a strain on some of their business in some cases. However, the clients that we have that are very strategic are seeing the opportunity that's in front of us right now. I mean, obviously, candidates are harder to find when the unemployment rate is so low. So there are going to be more available candidates out there. The question is what the quality of those candidates are going to be. So to answer your question, the candidate pool has definitely increased in size. However, we are seeing a lot more of what would bog a client down in their resume searches. We're seeing a lot of candidates apply to positions to which they really have no relevant experience or skills. And so that does not help, for example, our financial services clients if they're hiring for a client relations position, or a client service specialist is a common title, or client service associate. Having someone who's worked in a warehouse for 10 years is probably not going to be the right fit. And you're going to have to go through a plethora of those resumes because they're really, really out there right now compared to where they were before. So I think the overall pool in relation to the actual positions that are out there has gotten a little more diluted.
How has your process changed when it comes to hiring people who could potentially start remotely?
Really, our process has not changed a bunch, but we have seen benefits in regards to the candidates. The candidates seem to have more time on their hands to be able to complete the assessments and the personality profiling and the one-way video interviews. So that has definitely been a benefit of this scenario. In regards to our clients and preparing them, we've just had to help walk them through mentally how to prepare for phone interviews and video interviews that they're having to use now versus the traditional in-person interviews that they were conducting prior to this situation. Okay. And we've also had to kind of work with our clients to help strategize as to when they could potentially bring this new hire on, depending upon the situation that's happening in their geographical area.
One of the things that I ask people in these Top Advisor Marketing podcasts are a little bit more a bigger picture philosophical things. As a person who's built this company, is there anything, a resource that you would say, I wish every advisor would read this about HR? Is there like a book or a TED Talk or anything that you find yourself telling people that they should pay attention to either get them up to speed or prepare them to work with you more successfully?
Honestly, a good resource is probably the SHRM website, which is an HR-based website for things like that. That's not something that we typically get into. We're not an HR company or we're not an HR consulting company per se. So we focus more strictly on the hiring and the direct hiring, not temp to hire, for example. So I would say that that's a good resource. There's honestly just a plethora of good resources out there in regards to good hiring practices. But, for the client that doesn't want to spend their days looking at those things or following up on those things, that's really what we're here for, so that we can walk them through that entire process, hand in hand, step by step. We try to make it as simple as possible and as user-friendly as possible, just to get them through step by step the process from beginning to end.
Gotcha. And that makes a lot of sense. Financial advisors are consistently asking their clients to let them do their job, right? To make it so that you're hiring a professional for a reason, and that reason is usually for delegation. And that's a great way to be able to bring somebody like you in, because very, very few financial services professionals are really good at recruiting, are really good at hiring, and really good at finding the right people. And in fact, a lot of times they do very poorly, and it can be very expensive if they don't hire the right person, because then they have to, fire them and retrain them, and there could be unemployment costs and all of that. Duane, what should I have asked you?
And on the flip side,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, and on the flip side of that, we view it the same way. We would not be very good at advising people on what to do with their money. So we let the professionals do their jobs on that. So that's kind of, we have the same point of view in the reverse.
What should I have asked you? Is there anything that, in my infinite wisdom, which is really not infinite, that I should have asked you either about your products, your program, your process, that our listeners should know about?
Well, I would guess, obviously everyone tries to go to price point right away, which we're obviously very competitive in that range. But I would have to say that the one thing that really sets us apart from a lot of recruiting firms that are out there is that we the old adage, the old saying, we put our money where our mouth is. We guarantee our clients. So depending upon our candidates, depending upon which recruiting package you choose, we offer a 30, 60, or a 90-day guarantee. And what that is, if one of our candidates is placed with the client's company, from the time they accept the employment offer, they have 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. If for some reason that does not work out, whether it be on the candidate side, the client side, is totally irrelevant. Doesn't matter what the reason was. They leave the employment for any reason whatsoever. We start the package over, and we do everything again to have zero cost whatsoever to the client.
Wow.
So I think that's important, because a lot of recruiting firms out there don't offer those guarantees, or if they do offer them, there's about 100 different ways that they can get out of it. We're very straightforward. We like to do a good, honest business, and we want to take care of our clients. Our reputation is everything, and we want to make sure that we're doing a good, honest business so that our clients can then either come back to us later as they continue to grow, or they can refer us to their friends or their colleagues, much like you had mentioned earlier, much like Coach Joe has done.
Yeah. All right. What's the best way for people to reach out to you, Duane?
Really, the best way is through the web, and that's going to be www.humansbeingresources.com, or you could do www.my, that's MY, the number 1, and the word hire, HIRE.com. That's usually the best way to get in touch with us. Otherwise, obviously, our phone number of 844-691-4473. And we're here to help. We're at the ready. And I know that we can take care of all of your financial advisors' hiring needs.
Magnificent. We're going to make sure that your websites and your phone numbers are in the show notes, so that if people want to click on it, it'll be an active link. Duane, thank you so much for dropping your knowledge on us today. We really appreciate it. There are a lot of financial services professionals who desperately need to find the right people, and I'm very grateful that you're out there to help them.
Thank you so much, Matt. We do appreciate this opportunity, and we look forward to doing another podcast again in the future.
If you have not subscribed to the podcast, of course, click that subscribe now button below. And if you have any ideas for topics or guests, all you have to do is email me, matt@topadvisorm.com. I'd be more than happy to take a look at who you think would be a great guest on the show. So for everybody at HBR and all of us here at Top Advisor Marketing, we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.
Are you ready to change the way you communicate with your clients? Are you tired of being the best kept secret in your area? Learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your business. Contact us today and see what the power of podcasting can do for your business. Click on the Contact Us link on our website at topadvisormarketing.com and set up a call to learn more. Follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook for more updates and information.
This was brought to you by Iris.xyz, a platform helping financial professionals become better in business and life through new media and new voices. Visit them and learn more at Iris.xyz.